Everything is transactional. It's fan engagement, but it's transactional.
Alex, good to see you, my friend.
Hi, Raoul. How are you?
I'm good. It's a crazy old world out there. So, and but
last time we spoke was almost exactly 2 years ago, I believe.
2 years ago, and the world was quite different at that point.
It was so simple.
It's never simple. That's the answer. I mean, you've tried. I mean, what you're doing is an impossible task that nobody's achieved before, which is to, talk to people about, let's get across what you're doing, what Socios is, what it does, in case people didn't see the first interview.
How dare you not watching the first interview? Let's put a link below. So a bit of a background about us, Chiliz and Socios. Chiliz being the blockchain, the foundation of what we are doing, and the token, and Socios being the consumer-facing product that we launched end of 19, early 2020. I'll say fast forward now, since we spoke 2 years ago, which I believe was February 21. We are 300 people, 300 employees. We have 9 offices all over the world. We are working with 100 plus, 120 plus sports property. And we have a very simple mission. Our mission is to try to tokenize sports team by creating something that we call fan tokens, which are fungible tokens. They are not NFTs. And these fungible tokens are sort of like a membership program that we tokenize. So we started in 2018 and 19 with Paris Saint-Germain and Juventus, 2 European soccer teams. And now we have more than 80 football teams or soccer teams: Arsenal, Barcelona, Man City, Inter Milan, AC Milan, etc. And we issue these tokens. These tokens give you a right to vote on decisions of the club that are neither business or sports. They are in the middle. They are all about fan engagement. And our mission is simple, is to try to help sports team, leagues, but mainly sports team, to engage and monetize their 99% of sports fans that are not in the stadium, not in the city, and sometimes not even in the country of the team they are supporting. And that's how it all started. And till now it worked pretty okay. It's been difficult, of course, like everybody else, but we've been very lucky because we are almost the only one doing what we do, and we have a massive network effect in the business that we are running.
Hey everyone, Raoul's Venture Crypto, it's really my flagship show. It's where I interview the best guests in the world, people you never get on another show. I think it's the best show in macro, crypto, and Web3 combined. In fact, that's what it does. It covers everything. But really, it's all about the revolution in Web3 and crypto. And I'd love it if you got it every week in your inbox. All you have to do is just click on the link below, pop in your email address, and you'll get notified every time it comes out. And you don't miss anything as you take my journey into the exciting new world of crypto and Web3. Thanks.
So, and we've talked a bit about this, but where are the clubs in their understanding of this? Because at first it's like, oh yeah, we'll do this. It's a bit of marketing promotion. But, you've had the hard job of explaining, no, this is, like Man United, they've got 800 million fans around the world, but only a few come to the club, or if not, they have to monetize it via TV rights. But how are clubs getting their heads around this yet?
So it's been a journey. When we signed our first 2 teams, July, August 2018, so it was actually after the crash-ish of Bitcoin, we signed Paris Saint-Germain and Juventus. And listen, let's not be naive. The reason they signed with us at first was because we were paying them. There was money up front. There is what we call minimum guarantee, which is very common in sports or in general. And we give you a minimum guarantee. The same way Nike give them a minimum guarantee to print and sell the jersey, I'm going to give you a minimum guarantee to print and sell a token. And the difference is we're going to try to build utility for that token, and we're going to build a network, a range of services and benefits. We've been very lucky because till early 22, mid 22, we generated a significant amount of revenue for all of these clubs, and I'm talking in hundreds of millions of dollars. So we've proven our point, I would say, by actually providing a new revenue stream for this team. That was true during COVID, but that was true after COVID as well. 2022 is a little bit different because we are still, at least for now, crypto dependent. We are still, our digital asset, the fan tokens being traded, being available in the market. are still dependent on the market. So yes, we are suffering the same way any other digital asset related entity will suffer. But the difference, I guess, after 5 years of existing and operating our business is that we don't have anymore to prove anything to the teams. The teams work with us. They are happy to work with us. We've proven as a being able to generate an income, being able to generate an engagement, being able to think out of the box. I'll give you an example we've done recently. Mid-January in Saudi Arabia, there was the final of something called the Supercoppa, the Italian one, where you had AC Milan and Inter Milan playing together. And whoever had a token of either Inter Milan or AC Milan would have been able to bid auction on the goals that were scored during that game. So literally, and I was there, every time there was a goal that was scored, there was 3-0 for Inter. We had the referee taking the ball out of the field, putting an NFC chip. We put that in a nice box. We filmed it. It was live on TV, etc. And then we got that back to our office. We added the metadata on the actually making an NFT technically with the metadata as who scored the game, what's the link of the video of that game, the goal, the video link to that goal, etc. And here you are. If you're an Inter fan, you have a chance to actually bid not only on the real ball that was scored, but also to have information about it. And that was very interesting because it's the first time it happened. It creates utility to the teams or to the token, but it's us who is spending energy, resources to do that and try then to eventually scale that either for the whole league or for different events. And so my point here is we are spending an intensive amount of work and resources and people, hence why we are 300, to actually bring utility that are not just digital, that are in the real life. I think last year we gave 17,000 tickets, 17. We had to build a team to give away these tickets for the token holders. So that's a crazy part of our business.
An aside on, I've got a lot of questions to ask. Tickets, have you not thought of getting the clubs to do these as NFTs?
Yes and no. So because we know each other for 2 years, I'm going to try to be as less bullshit as I can. We believe that our journey, at least the Socios.com and Chiliz journey, is not about replacing something, it's about to enhancing. And we believe that our journey is about trying to engage and monetize the 99% of people that are not in the stadium and not trying to do a gimmicky thing on top of the 1% people that goes in the stadium. And the reason I'm saying that is because whoever goes to the stadium today, it works. They go, they pay their Visa, MasterCard, whatever, hot dog, it works. They don't need us. They get their ticket. Can they get a collectible out of it? The answer is yes. Is it us? Is it someone else? I don't know. But the answer is yes. But at the end, it's only 20 times a year. When you look at soccer matches or...
And it's a small number of people.
And it's 40,000, and it's more or less in average 40,000 people who kind of don't need us. They already have their experience. They have the best time of their life. So because we really don't have too much value to provide there, we do think that our play is to try to really focus outside of the stadium. It doesn't mean we're not going to do anything in the stadium, but our main focus is actually outside.
So, right, the question I want to talk about, you mentioned it, I'd love to hear your thoughts, is price volatility.
Yes.
Right. There's some elements of price volatility are fine. Is the ecosystem vibrant? But the problem is this is also grabbing the volatility of the crypto space when it's not necessarily part of the fan engagement. Have you thought about whether these should be openly tradable or whether they should be closed economies for the clubs? Using the same architecture, you've got all the architecture there, but
you mean that they would be paired 1-for-1? I mean, one fixed price or something like that?
Well, Reddit, for example, they're non-fungible with money.
Yeah.
So what they've got is this loyalty reward system that allows them to get the rewards and things within, whether it's tickets or experiences, but it doesn't have to be fungible, i.e. you can't sell it again. So you're creating an ecosystem that's less volatile. It should be volatile because it's the vibrancy of the club and the community around it. So that needs to reflect that, but not.
As much as people will hate me saying that, I I'm kind of okay with actually, no, I don't like the volatility, but I like the trading component of it. And I'm a believer, and it's true with tickets, it's true with sneakers, it's true with collectibles in general. Volatility matters because it actually gives value to what you have. Actually, not volatility, trading component. The fact that you have a secondary market gives value to what you own. And I believe that's the problem we are facing in a way is we don't have enough casual fans or casual users in general. Like any cycle of innovation, the first generation of users that's going to come in what we do are by definition early adopters. And if they are early adopters, in our case, there is a significant part that are crypto enthusiasts, people that they see what we do, they understand immediately, they're not going to gain it or not, but they understand what we are doing. And these early adopters are more crypto enthusiasts, and they're going to interact a little bit more or trade more than a casual fan that doesn't understand yet fully what we're trying to achieve because he doesn't see the full picture, and therefore it's more expensive to acquire him, it's more expensive to retain him, and we need to find a balance where between the early adopters and the mainstream users, it's gonna be balanced, and that's gonna take a few years because at the end the reality is we are 2 years old. I mean, the company is 5 years old. We launched our product end of 18, early 2020, but real business started end of 2020, early 2021. So technically, we are a 2-year-old ecosystem that need to learn a lot, and we've learned a lot. And we know also that one of our main job in 2023 is to fully open the ecosystem. We've been too much relying on ourselves, on socios.com, and our motto in 2023 is fan token everywhere, and that's why we're launching our new blockchain. It's to allow any developer, any startups to start to engage and build with fan tokens. So it's not just on us anymore. It's really decentralized in that way, and that's going to increase the value, not financially, but the value as a fan significantly.
Again, lots to talk about here. So how volatile are the individual clubs tokens versus the Chiliz token? Is that kind of normalized? So therefore the Chiliz token is the same as the crypto space with, global liquidity and all that stuff. How volatile is that Paris Saint-Germain versus Valencia, whatever it may be?
I don't comment too much for legal reason about this. I'd say that in a way, definitely not individually. In a way, it's very similar to the crypto market, at least the ones that are listed on Binance or Upbit in Korea or Paribu in Turkey or Mercado Bitcoin in Brazil. All of these digital asset fan tokens that are listed, there is a decent connection with Bitcoin and the crypto market in general, but they do react differently. You will have some teams that will react at least temporarily related to sports patterns. Like during the World Cup happens, during some league match, Champions League or stuff like this. But one, of course, you cannot predict. Two, there is zero guarantee. So we are just spectators there. We're trying to understand. But sometimes there is nothing to understand. The market being the market, it does what it does. At the end, our journey is about providing this market, providing the utility, and then people will do what they have to do.
So let's talk about this utility. What it means for the fan, because, yes, there's a trading element, fine. But the actual thing is the clubs are engaging their fans and giving them some way of tying together loyalty outside of watching it on TV, right? Because it's a weird old world that clubs with such a big reach have so few ways of talking to their fans and kind of offering them stuff.
It's difficult. What we've learned after 5 years is that teams are bad in being innovative technology because 100% of the revenue they're trying to generate, they always try to reinvest that in players to compete with the other team because they have to pay the better player, etc., etc. It's a very unfair business where all the money goes to the players and actually there is not much left to innovation or even fans, that I would probably argue. For a fan, if you think about the selling point or USP kind of conversation, it's simple. Is what a fan wants when he likes a team, beside the fact that he would like the team to win. There is two things that matter. One being recognized that you, a team owner, tells me, a random Joe, that I belong to the community, that I'm part of that community. I'm a fan 3.0, I'm a super fan. Doesn't matter the definition, but I'm part of this. And because I'm part of this, I have a voice. As a fun fact, fan tokens, which is a trademark that we own, but in 2018, when we started to pitch fan tokens, the first version were called voice token, because we were giving a voice to the fans. And when we started to pitch that, people thought, oh, you're launching a new Skype or a new telecom company. So we shifted from voice to fan, and it worked well. But the basic of it is really about giving me a relationship where suddenly I can participate, I can benefit, and I'm part of a community. Because at the end, that's what's going to matter, is being part of the community. We do fan tokens, could have been NFTs, could be different digital assets. We believe that fungible is way more scalable than NFTs, and I'm happy to have this conversation. But for us, it's about the recognition, the benefits that you get. You get a 10% discount, 20% discount if you buy online. You get 17,000 tickets, VIP experiences, whatever. There is a lot of things, the ball and all these things. There is a lot of utility that either we build, that the team is building, and in 2023, that's third party are going to build. I think we haven't seen yet the full scope of all the utility that can be built with me owning a fan token, going to the McDonald's here in the street, and because there is someone else that built the link that if I own a fan token and I go to McDonald's, I get 10% because it's next to the stadium, or it's next to a Nike shop that is a sponsor of that team, I get a discount. So there is a lot of things that can be invented for that.
How do fans earn tokens, or is it only purchasing? Can they earn them from the community that the club have a treasury that they reward good fan engagement?
Yes. So technically, we as a company are the issuer, or rather we have a dedicated company that is the issuer of all these fan tokens. So the team or the league is never the owner of the fan tokens. I'll take Barcelona as an example. I think the Barcelona fan token treasury is 75% at least. No. Yeah, 75% at least of the total supply. So there is a fixed supply. There is a certain amount that was sold during the fan token offering and during the trading events over the years, and there is a certain amount. This amount can be used either to be traded and to be sold, which is the main purpose of it as a revenue, but also there are campaigns that are organized to ticket season holder, but again, it's always for the same 40,000 people, or some operation that we are working. In Brazil, for example, we are planning to work with a massive, retail operator that has like 50 million users, and they're going to reward their users with fan tokens that they're either going to buy or we're going to give from their favorite teams in the country. So you can see loyalty being rewarded at some point with these tokens. The question is which loyalty? Loyalty of you attending a match? Yeah. We could have a QR code where you go in the stadium, but again, it's always the same guys that's going to do that. Is it loyalty because you're watching a match? I could have my phone, I put my phone, I watch the thing, there is a QR code popping up. I can scan it. So proof of attendance, we will announce few initiatives around that. But it's difficult to find what is loyalty. The same way it's difficult to find what is a fan. There is this endless conversation about, and especially in the UK, where all fan of Manchester City that lives in Japan or Turkey are the same fans than someone who lives in Manchester. In my eyes, yes, they are, because otherwise it's discrimination. I can be as passionate as you wherever I live. I have the exact same passion. I was just not lucky enough to be born next to the city. But actually, I read, I think last week, a survey where only 13% of the fans in UK and most European countries are choosing their team based on the geography. So there is no reason we should focus on the fact that only the fan, as the Super League will call them, and it's a bad word, legacy fans, will be the only untitled fans. I think that fans is a sum of tribes. It's a very broad range of tribes all over the world. You and I are consuming sports differently, and yes, we are fans. And that's why there is a need of different products. Could be fan tokens, could be any other things that will have to be launched at some point by us, by the teams, by third party, that reach a few percentage of different tribes.
How do you get people together? Right. So part of being a community, being a fan is the community, right? And it spills out on whether it's on Twitter or whether it's on OneFootball or whether it's on all of these platforms. It feels like that's a component part that needs to get solved better. I mean, you can't solve everything. I get that, right?
Yeah.
People need to build on your network. People need to build on your network. We'll come to that. But it feels that Filipino fan of Man United or Barcelona or whoever wants to feel as connected as the guy in Nigeria as the person in England. And they should, as you're saying, they're equal. They're fans.
Should be Untitled. Yeah. So, well, the first answer is there is Facebook for that. There are many Facebook fan groups, page, whatever, communities that exist in Indonesia. Philippines is not very big in football, but in Indonesia, it's massive. Like literally the biggest fan base on Facebook or in Indonesia for Premier League team or Barca and others. And Nigeria, it's funny that you said Nigeria because Nigeria is massive as well. And on Facebook, so you have this community, people arguing about the clubs, saying that they need to fire that player all the time. Is it the role of a club to actually become the operator of this? Probably not. I think it is fair that it has to be decentralized, which is already the case, is everybody creates their own community. Could you have the fact that on that community on Facebook, if I own a token of that team, I get maybe some benefits or get some reward? That's interesting. So Facebook launched experiences recently called token gated, where if you own an NFT of something, you could potentially have access to something else. It creates some issues with Apple and iOS, and it's very annoying. But it is interesting. They do that with NFTs for now. They don't do that with fungible token. At some point they will. And I think we have a play for us. We on socios.com as an app, we do have, and we had actually some chat rooms and stuff like this. They don't work very well. I will tell you something. I used to work in online sports betting like 15 years ago. And when I launched in 2004, so a long time ago, 19 years ago, an online sports betting company licensed in the UK, my first thought as an entrepreneur was, imagine you have a sports book where you're also going to have the information about the team, the weather, literally the weather of the team where they are playing and all that stuff. Because at the end, it's great to have everything in the same place. And the answer to that is no. A sports betting platform, it's where you do sports betting. Then you go on the Telegraph, or you go on the Eurosports or any dedicated sports property, because that's what they do well. And sometimes I think the dream of we should add everything at the same time is actually a wrong answer, especially in Web3. What could be relevant is having a link between all of them. And that's where a token, whatever the token it is, could become relevant. And once we open the chain and open the platform, then you could end up having social media and communities developing tools for that. So you have a Discord, we'll have a Discord channel, we'll have a server where there will be like 500,000 Barca fans. We have no link with them. But if you have a Barca token, maybe you have a new badge in your Discord profile, and maybe you get additional value. Who knows?
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see that Meta, Facebook, are moving down this direction. Their team are great people. They kind of know what they're doing. I've had conversations with Google. They kind of know what they're doing as well. So it's coming, but it's slow. But I think you're going to see the integration. But you guys are still pioneers here, because there's basically what you're doing, Ape, the Ape token, and that's about it at any scale. I've been a huge believer, as you have, in this fungible tokens. I believe in the non-fungible. We'll talk about that in a sec. But this fungible token idea is massive. But it's hard work, and you guys have been pioneering it along with Yuga. So talk to me about the new chain. Why you created the new chain, and then how you're thinking of creating network effects by allowing other people to build on it. Because this is, I think, maybe the big unlock for you guys.
Yes, and honestly, it is. What has been the reason we've been successful one way or another the last 5 years, it's because we protected the interest of the teams. And the difference between Ape / Bored Apes NFTs. And what we do is the Bored Apes have no legacy. They came, I guess, 3 years ago, something like that. And it's a brand new IP. We work with 100 years old IPs. That comes with a massive legacy, massive liabilities, massive restriction, etc., etc. And so we have to be way more careful. We cannot do what we want. We, the club, everybody cannot do what they want. And the reason I'm saying that is because for the last 5 years, we've been very protective. We're trying to protect this. The reason the teams started to work with us is because we thought, not as a Web3 company, we thought as a sports company, how to work with these people. Now we feel comfortable in the where we are, and the fan tokens are already on the chain. Actually, we call that Chiliz chain 1.0, which is connected to Binance and all the exchanges all over the world. There is like 20 or 30, I don't know, and there is almost 2 million wallet open there. So it's a decent number for something that is small, at least in our case. And the reason that started in 2019. So what we are launching now is we are opening that chain, and we are upgraded it. Upgrade it. Yeah, thank you. The French thing. And the reason we do that is because we realize that we cannot be the sole provider of the utility to actually have this token successful. We need to have as many developers as possible to jump in. So the new chain, what we call Chiliz chain 2.0, which was minted as a Genesis the 8th of February, which was our 5th anniversary. And that will be launched by end of March, early April. This chain is just an EVM, same, and it's a fork of Ethereum and actually BNB. And the difference is, again, in order to protect the IP, we made it like we go step by step, like everything we've done in the past. And we have a governance where only the governance can approve an address to issue an asset, meaning that there will be a whitelisting process for whoever wants to launch asset on that chain will have to be approved by the governance. And the reason that happens is to make sure there is no scam, or at least less scam or less spam on the chain. And it's a curated kind of chain for the sports and entertainment brands. Because these brands we're working with, Barca, City, they don't want to have their token next to Ethereum or BSC or others where everybody can manipulate as a data and as a technically the chain. So they want to be a little bit protected. So we are more a Web 2.5, 2.6 than 3.0 in that way. But that's fine because over time, this will grow and the governance will grow. That's a proof of stake, proof of authority of stake chain where you eventually, and that's interesting, where you as a fan, you as a team can potentially get exposed to the success, whatever that means, or at least to have an access to the success of that network. Because you own Chiliz, there is staking, therefore there is rewards. The chain is providing rewards to whoever is staking their Chiliz. And my dream, not going to happen tomorrow morning, but my dream is to have every single sports team to become a node and a validator of that chain. And we are just a spectator out of it. And that's how it would be run. And then the fans, either through their Chiliz or their fan tokens, could somehow have an exposure into the governance and the chain and the network. And the network effect, when we say network effect, it's obviously not technology. Oh my God, I'm tired. It's not the technology. It's about the fact that we have 100 plus teams and that a fan of Barcelona is also a fan a bit of PSG because of Messi and also a fan of the UFC and maybe Formula One because of Netflix. So the more we aggregate this IP, the more developers are going to come and develop services. You know, how many chains have barely any utility except DeFi and whatever TLV things that are on it. We have users that come, and now we're going to have developers that's going to provide services to these users. And we, as Socios, we're still going to continue to try to onboard new IPs, new utility into the mix. We are very bullish, but we are very confident that it's going to bring more value to the fans, more value to the teams, and more value to the network.
Now, how do you... It's complicated because of the IP rights, but, you know, let's say I want to build a token-gated game around football clubs.
Yeah.
Right? Which is what you'd want because we could get hundreds of millions of users. Yeah. The issue is the clubs won't allow it.
So they will allow you to create a game where you need a token, because token is free to have access. What they will not allow you if you don't engage with them is the fact that if you want to use their logo, the image of the player or the name of the player in a game, this you have to pay anyway. Has nothing to do with us. You have to play FIFA, FIFA Pro, the league or the team itself. So we actually have 2 games already that signed to be onboarded in Chiliz chain, who have relationship with clubs. But what's interesting is we as Socios.com and Chiliz, we're going to start to become also a broker, an agency to help developers to connect with these teams. Because if they have a good idea, they want to scale, well, we already have the token, we have the infrastructure, we have some users, customers, but we also can connect you with the team if you need extra IP. You're going to have to pay them, it's nothing related to us, but still, we're going to be able to accelerate that because we already have access to this.
So in your head, in this kind of future state, what are people building on the chain? Because it is, I find it's hard because of the restrictions. So people will have to be unique because you can't even sell merchandise because anything that shows a player, a brand, anything, you have to play, and the clubs are not easy to negotiate with, and it's expensive. So what's in your head that people can do? Now, it could be a bigger brand that do this, right? So somebody big with money could do it, fine. Yeah. But how do we get others?
Well, I guess the standard developers are going to work more on P2P transaction and how, as a community, you could build stuff actually because you own this token or that token that gives you access, like building bridges or token-gated platform and tools that's going to connect to existing social media and platform. That would be my first thought. We're going to work a lot and we're going to invest in what we call certificate of authentication. So what I said for the balls, we are doing that for jerseys as well. So you could imagine at some point that every club has actually a different provider usually for their jersey. Of course, it's Nike or Adidas or Puma who supply the jersey, but then there is different platform that does that. We'll make an announcement in March in this, but you could imagine that you own a jersey, we add an NFC chip here, you put your phone, either with Socios or not Socios, it goes on Chiliz chain and it gives you the metadata of that jersey. There is actually a significant limitless opportunity around that, where if you have in your wallet the jersey plus the fan token plus something else that could trigger the fact that you're a super fan or whatever experiences. Ticketing, even though I don't want to do ticketing myself, I do believe we can bring value, or the chain and services can be.
Have you spoken to the Ticketmaster guys yet?
No, I mean, we spoke, but US is a very specific country where there is actually a massive monopoly, which they get in trouble for actually right now. And so US, we don't touch.
They've given out 10 million NFTs because they made their ticket wallet Web3. So you go to a game or a concert and they drop an Elton John NFT because you went to an NFT.
I was at the Super Bowl. Actually, I was at the Super Bowl and I received an email from the NFL and that was Ticketmaster giving me an NFT of that. But so what? What's next? What you gonna do after? It's cool. I mean, don't take me wrong. It's cool. They send an NFT. Me, and you're an expert in the game, but for me, and I'm sure you will agree, NFT is a tech. It's not a product. So until now, we haven't perfectly defined what's the best product to build out of NFT. Actually, fan token is a product on a tech that are fungible tokens. But what are the best usage of NFT? I don't have the answer. Certification for sure, and we are doing that. Proof of attendance, and there is many things. But from a membership point of view, Bored Apes, it's 10,000 people. That's great. That's great for Bored Apes. But Barcelona, they have 100 million, 300 million fans. They're never going to reach that audience. But they could reach 1 million users easily. And so you cannot have 1 million NFTs that make sense for that.
So,
or at least we don't think so.
Maybe there's the opportunity, right? So if we look at one of the vibrancies of the Ethereum ecosystem has been NFTs, and we've seen it in Solana as well. So if people came and built NFT experiences on the Chiliz 2 chain that was scalable, and whatever that means, I don't know, whether it's tickets or whether it's whatever that is, that feels like that's going to generate a lot of on-chain activity and make it much broader than just the pure fungible token side of it.
Yeah, if we think and we can disagree on that. If we think that NFTs is a bigger thing than fan tokens, and the reality is, I should not care as a chain, because the chain is agnostic. Whoever is building digital assets, if they are successful, they are successful. So we're gonna embrace it big time. We're gonna.
So why don't you think about something like, okay, fine, you go to Barcelona and say, let's roll out an entire NFT program. You don't care because you get the chain activity. Mm-hmm. They make the money like Adidas and Nike and everybody else has started to do. And it completely explodes the value of the Chiliz chain, because the clubs are now selling digital goods themselves with their own IP. They capture the ecosystem. I mean, that's quite a big game changer.
Yeah, well, you could even do that by offering, like the apes did in a way, is like only the fan token holder of Barca could actually have a mint drop or whatever of you need Barca tokens to mint your Barca NFT, and that's something that will make sense. Today it's not possible, but it will be possible by July, and that's the kind of things we are exploring. I don't think it's a and or situation. I think we have to experiment a ton of things, and the difference I will say between fan tokens, I believe that fan tokens are a little bit more casual and mainstream, the way we see them, while NFTs, as you know them and as we design them today, or talk about them today, are a little bit more exclusive and therefore less scalable. We provide a different product. Keep in mind that a club like Barca has 137 members, which are called the Socios or Socio, which are the real owner-ish of the clubs, and they are the governance of the clubs technically. And so these clubs, this association, they were educated to try to bring communities. I'm a strong believer in that. And for us, I think what limited us the last 5 years, and that's ironic, was the fact that we were maybe mono product and a little bit like focused on just one thing. And in 2023, it's going to be completely the opposite, where because of the chain, but also because of Socios, you could argue that Socios.com as an app could become a Web3 browser that is dedicated to the sports space, where I have my wallet, my fan tokens, I have my NFT related to Barca and to another tips, and the gamification, which is very important. We do a massive amount of gamification in the app, where every day you have to log in, you have rewards, milestone, X point. You can redeem this point to get the tickets. That's actually how it works. So we could become an aggregator of thousands of different third-party ideas and initiative that we gamify and that we bring and we connect together.
And how are you seeing globally different regions engaging? Because you've done stuff in the US now, you've got stuff in Asia, you've got stuff in the Middle East. Talk me through two levels. One is the clubs and their reception and the authority, the regulators and all of that. How are you seeing the global playing field? Then we'll talk about how the fans are different around the world as well with their engagement.
Well, fans are different, clearly different everywhere in the world. I'd say that what we've learned, I'll put US a bit aside, because in US we haven't launched in a significant way any big NBA token or NFL token because of regulation. Actually, the FTX drama kind of killed the momentum there for us in the US, so we were a bit frustrated because we invested a lot of money, dozens and dozens of millions of dollars. But we're going to have to wait at least a year, if not more, to actually have traction there. So that's a big frustration. Outside of the rest of the world, I'm in Spain right now. I'm in our office in Madrid. We work with Barca, Atletico Madrid, Sevilla, Valencia, and a few others. Yet Spain is not a big domestic market for us. Why? Because Spanish fans don't really need us to engage with their teams. And Spanish fans are not very big on international teams, except when they are Spanish players, but barely. On the other end, emerging markets, Turkey.
Yeah, because in
Brazil,
Spain, I lived in Spain for a long time, every newspaper, every TV channel, every conversation in every bar. So they're fully engaged. Their lives are fully engaged.
And so they, and that's true in UK as well. These markets are not markets where we have a big footprint. We work with the local teams. We work with City, Arsenal, Barca, and others. But we see ourselves as a partner to engage with international teams. That's why our app, international audience. Our app is translated, I think, in 13 languages, and we have actually customer care and everything in probably 10 languages, because Korea is big. Turkey is big. Turkey is our biggest market historically. Brazil right now is actually our biggest market in terms of user acquisition. Middle East in 2021 was decent. So we see that you could argue that a Korean fan of Barca will always have less interaction than someone who is based in Spain about Barca, even if she's not in Barcelona. And so we bring more value to people that are not in the country of the team they are supporting. And that's where we, as a company, we can invest and we can build features for that. Because the team themselves, including Barcelona, cannot afford to build an international strategy to monetize international fans. It's not scalable and sustainable for one team. If we pull that and we create this network effect, having offices everywhere and people working on it, then it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really exciting. It's all of those marginalized fans that are outside, and it makes total sense to bring them in, and then you can create a more valuable ecosystem, both for Chiliz token holders, but also for the clubs themselves and the fans themselves, and value being in the broadest definition of the word.
Yep.
I asked you this last time. Do you wish you've never started this journey?
No, that's funny. I don't recall that.
Because it's what you're doing is you were really early in two things. One was fan tokens or community social tokens, utility tokens, whatever you want to call them. That you were probably the earliest at any ambition. And you went to the football clubs who are really hard to deal with. So you chose something, I admire what you've done because you chose the hardest path.
So thanks. We were definitely the first one, and until today, we more or less are the only one in that space. I'll tell you a couple of things. I don't like the term social token, for example, because I've been asked a few times, like fan tokens, they are like social tokens. It was very trendy in the US to have social tokens, platform and stuff like this. I don't believe in social tokens. I don't believe in individual tokens. I don't believe in athlete token too much because people die, people retire, people cheat, and therefore it's very difficult to create a digital asset linked to one person that doesn't have an infrastructure, and the lifespan is 5 years, 10 years max in terms of a brand. So I'm very much against that. We've been offered the biggest name in the world of soccer, especially of football. Hey, do you want to do the token of that player or that player? Can we make a ton of money? Yes, but we always said no because we don't see the long-term play and the sustainability. And that's why we are very careful in what we do. We are very slow as well, and now we actually became too big where everything we do is slower, which is very annoying. But because we are very careful from a regulatory point of view, we are licensed in few countries. We are either regulated or approved / letter of the regulator saying that's fine. So we do the things very, very thoroughly. And there was the CEO of in New York, so I will let you figure out, of one of the biggest NFT platform marketplace. I had breakfast with him like 6 months ago, and he asked me, "Will you do the same thing today, knowing what you know today?" And especially his question was, "Will you do fungible token versus NFT?" And I say, "Oh yes, I will do exactly the same because I do believe that what we do is right. The way we are doing it is also right, as much as we can suffer of the market and everything. And yes, it is difficult to work with sports team and football in general. But I do believe that eventually we do bring value to the fans, to the ecosystem, we do bring a new revenue stream. It is naive to think that sports property don't need new revenue. They do need new revenue. Either it comes from sponsoring, the TV rights, or anything else. At the end, if you can give me something that is valuable and it costs me $10, $50, or $500, it doesn't matter if it's valuable as a service, as a benefit. Nobody forces you to do it. And yes, and a last thing as well is football. Our first white paper, actually not our first, our white paper of Chiliz, when we did a private placement early 2018, our first focus was actually esports. We were like, well, we're going to revolution esports. Esports is like the common sense of what we should do. It's digital. Everybody's going to get it. Well, it took us 3 months to realize that esports, we're never going to make it if we try to do it. And we shifted, in less than 3 months, we shifted on esports first, football maybe in 2 years, to football first and esports later. Because in esports, audience is very doesn't have any money. very dispersed. It's everywhere in the world, so actually you don't have a base. The turnover is massive between teams. Players' turnover is massive. The players that they change every 2-3 years, and also you are at the mercy of the game publisher that actually own the IP that you are trying to monetize. So if you're not in the good papers of EA or PUBG or Activision Blizzard, you can do nothing. So we realized that it makes way more sense to go with established fan base to try to bring value to them in football sports, in football teams, and also the difference between football in Europe and sports in the US. In the US, it's very centralized with the NBA, NFL, MLB, etc. In the rest of the world, more or less, it's completely fragmented. So you can actually make deals with 10 teams and never talk to the league. So that gives you actually a leverage to make things happen because you're not at the mercy of one. And that's how we scaled.
So none of us know the future, but if there's one application that changes the game and finally unlocks what this is, what do you think it's going to be? Obviously, you'll be dead wrong, but but what do you think it might be? Right? You know, we don't know. None of us know, right? What do you think it might be? The big unlock. So everybody goes, I get this. This is part of my fandom now. We should all have this. What could do that?
I don't think I have the answer. Interesting me. I do believe that the foundation of what we do, which originally is the recognition and the voice, is what we should try to excel, which is very difficult. Recognition is me in the street or in the metaverse being able, let me just, to show you my phone and show you that, oh, I'm a super fan of Barcelona. That's the ultimate recognition. Bragging rights is bragging rights is super valuable. If I can show to anyone that I'm the number one fan in my home city in Thailand of Barcelona, this is valuable. If I can show that I'm number 5 and I need to compete somehow, either by logging every day, doing a move to earn or whatever thing, to go up that ladder and be the number one fan, that's valuable. And because I'm a number one fan, I'm listened by the club, that's valuable. That I still believe it's the foundation. That's not transactional. That's community focused. That's a social status, going back to socios.com. And then the step after the social status and the recognition and the voice is definitely transactional. Actually, the more we grow, the more I would probably don't like to promote what we do as a fan engagement, but as a fan transactional platform, because buying a jersey, buying a match-worn jersey, a ball, a ticket, everything is transactional. It's fan engagement, but it's transactional. And I think that's what we should try to capture. And it's not bad to talk about money when we talk about fans. That's not true. Sure, the hot dog in the stadium should have a cap price, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about fans everywhere in the world that are actually our fans and don't know what to buy or what to do to get closer to the team. And that's what we need to answer. And anyone that is listening to the video today, I'll be happy to tell you that we are launching something called the Chiliz World Tour, which will be a world tour of hackathons in stadium. So we're going to create hackathons in Paris Saint-Germain Stadium, in Inter Milan Stadium, in FC Barcelona, in Sports Arena, etc. And we want developers from all over the world to actually gather in areas of this arena to actually build what is the future of fan engagement. And
no, I think it's super exciting. I know the big unlock is there. You've done actually the foundational hard work, right? That's what you've done is the hard work, which gives you a huge moat. And now it's that unlock moment that can come. And, you know, I can still see you're trying to figure out product market fit. Is it transactional? Is it this? Is it that? It'll come. And the more people you get building on that network that you're trying to do with these hackathons, the higher probability is somebody's going to come up with it. And you don't have to do it. And you don't have to hire yet another 300 bloody people.
No, and another thing, and you will create value for whoever is going to develop that. We already have the IPs. We have the people to support customer care and regulatory. So we bring an infrastructure and a framework for whoever has good ideas and knows how to code it.
Alex, as ever, fascinating conversation. I wish you well. You look remarkably fresh considering the amount of work that you do, but well done.
I have an amazing team.
And we will catch up again as we keep going through this story, because I've been following you guys closely from day one. So well done.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Bye. See you.
See ya. So there you go. Alex is up to a huge amount as ever. And he's pioneering, trying different strategies, constricted within this old world of IP and certain rights. But I really find his passion and enthusiasm to find the big unlock amazing. And I think his idea about creating an open network of which people can build on is exactly the right thing, because he can't just keep scaling people to try and do this. He needs to bring out others and offer opportunities. And I think that's a true part of the Web3 world. And I can see him now really understanding what Web3 is at a larger scale, not just blockchain technology for unlocking fans, but allowing other people to build on the network. So I'll check in with Alex as we go to find out where he gets to with probably the biggest experiment in the world in social tokens, or in his case, fan tokens.
Hey visionaries, thank you for tuning in. For more free crypto content like this, head over to realvision.com/crypto. You'll get early access to the most brilliant minds in the space to cut through the noise, get in-depth analysis, and get you ahead of the curve with unbiased insights.